Hey friends, so today we're going to talk about a method of Bible study called cross-referencing. You see, the thing about the Bible is God didn't intend for us to just read one verse or one chapter. He intends for us to read the whole Bible. And it even says over in 2 Timothy 3:16 that all scripture, all of it, is useful for teaching and training us. And the really great thing about cross-referencing is that it identifies the places in scripture where God repeats himself. And it identifies, tells us the different times, people, places, events, circumstances, where these are all referred to throughout the Bible, and then it brings them all together to give us this bigger picture of the message that the Lord is trying to tell us, and then how we can apply it to our lives. Now let's look at our verse of the week. It is Romans chapter 12, verse 2. Do not be conformed to this world, but be transformed by the renewal of your mind, that by testing you may discern what is the will of God, what is good and acceptable and perfect. Now, I'm reading that from the ESV. I have an ESV study Bible. I love this translation. I think it's pretty easy to understand, and it stays quite close to the original text that the Bible was written in. I have a study Bible because it has all these notes underneath and below and throughout it, tables, graphs, maps, and that just helps me to get a better depth of Bible study when I'm looking at my Bible and studying all these verses. So that's my Bible, my ESV study Bible. Now, I'm going to show you my page for Romans 12:2, and you might kind of think, wow, what is going on there? I study my Bible, and the way I study is to underline. The way I study is to take notes, is to write extra things that I'm learning, write notes from sermons, sticky statements from Lisa Turkhurst. Over here, I've even got where we studied this verse when we did A Confident Heart in 2013. So every time I'm coming to my Bible, it's not like I'm looking at it just for the first time. I'm looking at it and I'm adding and adding on top, layer and layer on top of every time that I've studied this before. So I'm just adding to everything that I've already learned, and my Bible study and my knowledge is getting deeper and deeper every single time. So that is why I take notes and mark up my Bible pretty good. Now, if you look over in the margin here, there are all of these verses. These are our cross references. Now, throughout the verses here, there are little letters. So right at the beginning of verse 2, there's a little letter C. I don't know if you can see that there. And then I come over here where it says 2. That's for verse 2. And there's a letter C. And that is telling me that 1 Peter chapter 1, verse 14 is a cross-reference to the beginning part of Romans chapter 12, verse 2. So let's jump over there, okay? So 1 Peter chapter 1, verse 14, and it says, as obedient children, do not be conformed to the passions of your former ignorance. So there we can see the link. It's talking about being conformed. Romans 12 says, do not be conformed. And 1 Peter is saying, as obedient children, do not be conformed. So this is adding a little bit, another layer to what we're studying here. This is saying that it is out of obedience to the Lord that we are not to conform to the patterns of this world. And that also tells me that I'm being disobedient when I am conforming to the patterns of this world. See how that just adds something extra to the verse that we're studying? And then I can look further on, and another verse that's referenced there is Colossians chapter 3, verse 10. So I flip over there in my Bible, and Colossians 3, verse 10, it says, put on the new self, which is being renewed in knowledge after the image of its creator. So that's talking about the renewal that Romans 12 is talking about. And this is telling me that when I renew my mind, when I'm not conforming to the world and I'm renewing my mind, I am doing so with the purpose of becoming more like my Creator God. That is the drive. That is what I want to become. I want to just forget about the patterns of this world, and in obedience to the Lord, I'm going to transform and renew my mind so that every day, day by day, I can become more and more like my Creator God. Isn't that awesome how that just adds to it? And that's just looking at 2 verses. So we're going to get our Bibles out, and you can get the Bible going on the internet. I'm going to show you a couple of links below that you can look at to study these cross-references, and we're going to add to our learning and our studying of Romans chapter 12, verse 2 by cross-referencing.